Glad to see everyone's here. Glad that I'm welcome back. How about that? You know, that would be a horrible thing if I came back and I wasn't welcome. So, yeah,
I
glad.
must say, hands out to Angela. She was amazing. We
Thank
all
you.
worked together respectfully. It was,
Oh,
It
that's
was
good.
different. It was different.
Let me tell you something that's funny. In the team meeting this morning, I was like, "How did everything go?" And Angela's like, "Oh, it was great." I said, "Of course, you're gonna say it was great. It was you.
But it was.
You're not gonna say that you were terrible." So it's good to hear us give third party feedback.
yeah, third party validation.
Yeah, you need that second and third party validation. We don't always believe the first party. We gotta get somebody on the outside who doesn't have a vested interest giving feedback. So, but no, it's good to see everyone. Um, Glad to see Leroy enjoy Jasmine's conversation. I mean, Angela's conversation. Also, John, is this your first time with us, or were you here last week when I was absent?
No, it's my first time.
Okay, well, welcome. I'm Ron Story. I'm the head of product at Speaker Hub. Angela Lewis is here along with Raquel, who's over support. And we would like to welcome you to our regular co-working that we do Monday through Friday from 12 noon until about 1 p.m. Eastern time in the US. During this time, we answer any questions that speakers have, whether they're our customers or not, whether they're a part of our Need a Speaker, Be a Speaker group, whether they're Speaker Hub paid users, or they could just be random people who want to get a message out. We will help them to share that message under one condition, that is positive. As long as it's a positive message, we have no problem with promoting it. That's what we do here. So this is a very safe space. There's no criticism. We don't beat people up. We don't talk down to you. We're here to encourage you and meet you where you are and help you to get to where you're trying to go. So we normally ask that you introduce yourself, and then after you introduce yourself, to kind of tell us who you are and how we can help you. Then we'll kind of get into some of the wins for the week or weekend, things that we may need to celebrate, and we'll go from there. I know AJ learned he touched his toes this morning for the first time. For the first time in a long time, he sent me a message. He said, "I touched my toes." I said, "Look at this, Fat Albert."
That is not how that happened. I will go through the story
He
later.
didn't deny it. You see, he did not deny it.
Ron is exaggerating. That is not how that happened.
But congratulations to AJ. John, introduce yourself, please, if you would like.
Okay, well, my name is John Heaver. I live in North Central Arkansas, and I am an emotional resilience coach, focused primarily on stress management, but that's it in a nutshell.
Cool, cool. And who do you help?
Pardon me?
Who do you help directly? What is it? Men, women, corporations?
I cannot hear too well. My volume's all the way up. So I am working in a pro bono capacity now. I'm working on an advanced or a certification in emotional freedom techniques, which has changed my life, changed a lot of lives. And so I'm working pro bono with clients. I don't charge people because I'm trying to finish my process. So
Okay. Can you hear me better now?
yes, thank you so much.
Okay. Sorry about that. That was my microphone was on my computer, and my computer isn't that close to me, so
Sure.
it made me sound farther away. So I apologize. It's like goofy to have a mic in front of you but not be using it. So she said that I had to check myself, to make sure I was live. But no, great to meet you, John. What types of stages do you get on currently?
The stage that we're on now, I work one-to-one with clients. I am talking with a lady that I met by happenstance at church, who happens to be an officer in a national nonprofit that provides emotional support to women whose children are in prison, that kind of thing. And they're interested in having me speak at this upcoming summer's national conference. And So that kind of turned my interest in a new direction. Started looking at speaker coaching kind of thing, and that's why I'm here.
Okay. And how did you find us, if you don't mind?
Oh my gosh, like just Google search, one thing leads to another. No, it wasn't a referral.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, yeah. No, that's always trying to understand. A lot of people find us through our LinkedIn group. If you're not a part of the group, feel free to join. There's 53,000 people in our LinkedIn group called Need a Speaker, Be a Speaker. So you're feel free to join there. But yeah, this is what we do. We are Speaker Hub. We help you to get booked on stages. So if you want to share your message via podcast, local association groups, or large conferences, or even have an article. Maybe you want to write an article in a publication on a regular basis and get paid to do that. That's what we help all of our clients to do. So any positive reports, any bookings, any progress outside of AJ touching his toes?
Had my podcast on Friday with Dr. Katrina Barros. It was amazing. It's great. It was rescheduled from the Friday before. That was amazing. So I have one booked on Monday for what I'm excited about. It's a company right here in Toronto. And I'm working with 5 others.
No, that's a big deal. And
Yeah.
Jadika, I know Jadika was booked all the way through March. So Jadika
Wow.
probably did 5 podcasts last week.
It's it's been busy. It's busy.
That's it. She's hoarse. She lost her voice. She's been on so many podcasts. Cool. And Chantel, anything new in your world based on our last conversation? Or she may not be at her desk. So, but good to see you, Bart. Glad you joined. AJ, what up? I saw you on mute.
Yeah, I recorded 2 podcasts last week with 2 people from the group, so that was cool.
Oh, no, that's good.
Yeah, and first of all, let me clean up this touch your toes thing since you're gonna be making jokes about it. So I was at Ron's house, and me and some other friends was just talking about things that we do fitness wise, and I was like, man, I haven't touched like it's hard to touch my toes, and he was just like, yo, just like take all the force you can and go touch your toes, because I had a plan to do it in like 3 to 6 months, and he was like, yo, just do it right now. So we all just started doing it. So eventually I did. I like sprang down, touched my toes, hurt like hell. I was like, so today I was doing it again. I was like, dang, it's just like I gotta force myself to do it. And then I hit him up like, yo, I hate you. I remembered him saying it. Now he gonna make jokes about it forever, which is why I don't tell Rod nothing, which is why I'm gonna just start calling Angela and telling her to
No. That's called accountability. It's called accountability. This is good. No. I love to see when we make progress. A lot of times the limitations are in our brains, right? At one point, sending 50 pitches on the leaderboard was a big deal, right? And then it became 100, and then Jadika came and did 200 in a week, right? And then Sayron was doing like 150. Then Jadika did 200, and then Annie comes along, and now she's doing 500 a week because she has a team of people doing it. It's just resetting the ceiling of what we expect for ourselves, right? And getting booked on stages or sharing our message, a lot of times we have a lot of limiting beliefs of our own that hold us back, right? And if I'm trying to, I believe that anything's possible given the right amount of time and the right vehicle, right? So if I want to go from Medellin, Colombia, where I live, and I want to get back to St. Louis, where I'm from, I can walk there, but it's going to take me like 6 years, right? I can drive there and it may take me 3 months. I could go on a cruise or use some combination of the two, and it may take me 2 months. But I can fly it, I can get there tonight, right? So given enough time and the right vehicle, we could probably achieve whatever goals or whatever mission we're setting out to do. But it just takes someone to be an example to us or to nudge us a little further than where we're comfortable. To go back to AJ's analogy, it wasn't that he couldn't touch his toes, he couldn't touch his toes comfortably, right? He could do it, it just would hurt, right? And then you have to make that pain comfortable so that it's not painful anymore. And that's what basic stretching is. And Jasmine working in wellness can tell us that stretching is just getting us comfortable with the elongation of our muscles. So we have to do that mentally also, guys, and with the things that we're trying to do, especially if we're trying to do something this year, goal-wise, with getting on stage that we hadn't done before. So, Leroy, I saw you popped your hand up. What's up?
Yeah, amazing. Well, first of all, let me just say I can touch my toes while sitting down. So,
Oh, you cheating. He's cheating.
no, it was amazing with Ange, if I can say Ange, um, during your absence. It was really, really good. No, just backing up on what AJ said, starting his own podcast. So I was on a podcast where somebody asked, "Can I come on your show?" And I said, "Well, I haven't started it yet." So one of the commitment I've made was to start my very own for this month. And I also have bookings for February already. So that's definitely worth sharing.
No, that's a big deal. That's huge. That is a huge thing. So I want to share something since John is here through why we talk about podcasts and associations and conferences and media outlets. And if you were to think of the top 5 speakers that you like or that you admire or the top thought leaders, chances are you haven't heard all of them live and in person. It's because you got caught up in their flywheel in some way. Either you heard them on a podcast, you read a book that they did, you may have seen a recording of a speech that they did, like a TED Talk at a conference, but you got caught up in their flywheel someplace along the way, and that messaging brought you to them and made you buy their books or maybe buy a training from them or even find them in Google. So we teach speakers how to use that flywheel as a way to build their business. And the flywheel really consists of 2 sides. One side is a marketing side. And marketing is basically anything that comes to you inbound without you having to do anything. John found us today through marketing, meaning we had something out there. He Google searched us. We popped up. Marketing brought him to us. That's called an inbound lead. So we show speakers how to set up inbound processes through your speaker profile and through your own personal website and social media profiles so that people can find you all the same way that John found us, right? On the other side, we have there's outbound. This is when you find the podcast that you want to go on and you reach out to them and you tell them, hey, I think I would be a great fit for your audience. Hey, I would love to come speak at your association. Hey, I think I would be a great fit for this conference. So that's the outbound. That's called sales, right? So on one side, we have marketing, which brings people in. But on the other side, we have sales, which is I'm going to go get the people that I want. Marketing is where you set a trap for the deer to walk into. Sales is where you take a spear and you throw it at the deer you want. Is that a good analogy? That's how we have to think about this. So with Speaker Hub, we give you both sides. We give you the traps in the marketing side, but we also show you how to chuck a spear at something in order to capture what you want also, right? Or if you don't like that analogy, this is like nets, fishing with a net. This is fishing with, spear fishing or with one hook and a line, fly fishing or whatever, right? So we show you both sides of that here at Speaker Hub. And we believe that you should be using podcasts in order to get booked on associations. Use those association gigs as proof that you can command a live audience at a conference. And then use the social proof of that large conference to get your media credentials to write for Forbes, Fortune, Parents Magazine, Meditation Today, or whatever magazines you want to write for, so that while you're waiting on these conferences to come up, you still have steady income from your columns. These columns usually pay $1 to $2 per written word. So if you're writing a column a week, along with appearing on podcasts and doing small gigs and conferences, your flywheel is constantly running. And you're generating inbound and outbound leads all the time in order to build a sustainable business. Now, one of the things the reason why we call this a flywheel is because it's just like a regular wheel. If part of it is missing, your income is going to be like this. It's like that wheel will pop up and down and it won't roll smoothly. So your income as a beginning speaker usually has some peaks and valleys because you haven't fully built out the flywheel yet to have inbound and outbound leads coming from multiple different stages. So this is what we teach. This is what we live by. If people who are watching this, if they don't agree with this, you're going to have a hard time working with us because this is what we know and believe, right? So everyone who's on this call, in some way, you're using part of the flywheel or building up momentum in your flywheel by doing podcasts first and getting your association gigs going so that you'll be ready for that bigger stage. I know we have some different levels of speakers here, whether it's Bart, Jasmine, Leroy, Victor, everyone's at a different level with what they've been doing, but everyone has a common goal, which is to share their message in a more leveraged and effective way. Are there any questions about the flywheel up to this point? Right? So this is something that we review on a daily basis because I'm a firm believer that we don't need to be taught as much as we need to be reminded. And every time we teach it and we hear it, we remember, oh, man, I need to do my association business. Oh, I probably should start doing my conferences, right? Because the conferences happen 6 to 9 months out. The associations happen 2 to 3 months out. The podcasts happen 2 to 3 weeks out, which means you can be doing them all simultaneously and pitching them all so that once it gets caught up, that thing just goes, right? So Chantel, is that helpful?
Oh, absolutely. I have the flywheel on my wall.
Oh,
This
that's
is
dope. That's
so
super
yes,
dope.
this is everything. So, hi everybody. I just want to say hello and greetings from San Francisco. And last night at 11:30 at night, I had an interview with somebody from India. So I did my interview. It was from 11:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And I have a podcast today at 11:15 my time. And I have another podcast this evening at 5 o'clock, and I have a couple of more set up. And I have been able to pitch to a lot of different associations, so I'm waiting back on that. I've been pitching to a lot of different conferences, so I'm waiting back on that. And I've been invited to attend a Chamber of Commerce meeting on the 30th, so I'm looking forward to that as well too. So yeah.
No, that is super duper 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 incredible. That's a big deal, right? So what I want to show is something that I want to make sure that Chantel is using the right filters. So I'm going to log into um, our Speaker Up Pro account. And we're actually going to be rebranding this, guys. I'm going to announce it here first. So Speaker Up Pro will, in the future, going forward, will be called Speaker Data because this is our data set that we'll be using. So this will be rebranded Speaker Data because people are getting confused between Speaker Hub and Speaker Up Pro and Speaker Profile. So we're making some branding changes, but this will be called Speaker Data going forward. So when you go into conferences, Chantel,
Mm-hmm.
if you click on filters, you can come down and you can select the seasons here, right?
Nice.
And you want to be 2 seasons ahead of where we are. Right now, we're in winter. So we want to go at least to summer to be pitching speaking gigs that are 6 months out because this is where they're making the decision about the final speakers
Mm-hmm.
about 6 to 9 months out. If the conference is coming up in February, they've already decided their speakers. So if you're reaching out to them, you'll be asking as really a backup speaker, not as the main speaker. But hey, if someone gets caught in traffic or they can't make their flight or they have a family emergency, call me as the backup. But if you want to be the primary speaker, not on the backup list, you want to be 6 to 9 months out. So be sure to come into this thing here and select filters for summer, right?
Right.
And then if I wanted to put insurance, let's say I wanted to speak at an insurance conference here, right? You know, it would bring up that conference. I can click on it, John, just to kind of show you how this works. It gives me the description of of the event, I can add it to a list, and then I can click pitch, right? And what's going to happen is our software Speaker GPT, our AI is going to look at that conference, look at my bio, and then now it's writing the pitch for me. So right now in 15 seconds, it wrote a customized pitch to the New York Insurance Association asking if they would have me as a speaker, right? Do you see that there, John? Right? So this is what speaker data does in Speaker Hub. We basically match you with the data. We use our AI in order to write the pitch for you, and then I can just send or schedule this pitch right here. But if I wanted to make the changes, I can go in and I can type whatever I want to make sure that I get it updated. Or if I don't like the pitch, I think it's too long, I can rewrite it and make it funny. Whatever, I can make the adjustments to the tone of the pitch right here without having to go out to ChatGPT or do anything. It's going to rewrite a funny pitch that's a couple sentences instead of a few paragraphs in the next 10 seconds, right? Hey, Caitlin, are you on the hunt to sprinkle some extra charm over your next events, right? Once you hear what I bring to the table, you might just think, why didn't we have him sooner, right? So I would never say this, but it gives you a way to kind of personalize your message however you want it to be, right? Or you can drop in a template if you just want to write your own and override the AI, right? So this is basically Speaker Hub Pro, which we'll be calling in the future Speaker Data, where you can use our systems to do outbound sales. So you're not waiting on a podcast to find you. The great thing about this is based on your bio in the branding kit, the AI will automatically match you to the podcast that you should be going on or the associations that you should be pitching. If you look here in my branding kit, John, what you'll see is I have topics such as baseball, NFL, and tacos, right? But I put in what I do here, and let me hit regenerate with AI, and I'm going to have it recalibrate my bio so that it puts me on the right types of podcasts, because those baseball ones really aren't relevant to me. I was using that as a demo with someone else. So in about 10 seconds, it's going to rewrite my entire bio and give me some suggested topics. You see now, based on what I do here at Speaker Hub, it's saying I should be doing public relations, media engagement, speaker branding, and audience development topics. So now watch, when I click on podcast, you'll no longer see those NFL and MLB podcasts. Now you see it's giving me the relevant podcast that I should be a guest of, right? So I can click here, listen to the episodes right inside, and then go ahead and add it to a list and reach out to this public relations podcast right here. This is what everyone on the call is currently doing in order to get these bookings that they're celebrating. Make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Yep. So Bart, it's championship day, man. It's championship day.
Yeah, I'm down here in hot Atlanta. I'm sorry, it's actually cold Atlanta.
You're at the game.
I'll be heading to the stadium here in about 3 hours.
Incredible. Incredible. You tailgating?
It's cold Atlanta. No. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
might
had
not,
snow.
might
Atlanta
not
had
even
snow
get on a
about 3
flight
weeks.
tomorrow. They're talking about the weather coming in. I might not even make my flight out tomorrow. So that might change. But yes, unseasonably cool. But that's all right. Big game.
Well, hey man, we'll be looking for you on TV. We having a football party at my house, me and AJ, today. It's just gonna be me, him, and my son watching the game. But
I'll be the one in
anybody
red.
else, huh?
I'll be the one with red on.
Okay, I'll see you, man. We'll see. You know, if anybody else is in Medellin, y'all welcome to come to my house, and y'all can come watch the game. Yeah, Deshauna, good to see you. Michelle, glad you were able to join. Who else has joined us? Let's see. Yep. Any questions, any comments about the flywheel, how it works, the rebranding, going towards sales and marketing? and speaker data.
Quick question, since we're talking about the flywheel and all that, a situation showed up on my system I spoke to earlier about, where all of a sudden a lot of the ones I wanted to pitch, I go back and pitch them, said already contacted someone in my team. Oops, something's on my mouth. Sorry about that. Already contacted someone on my team. Remember that, Angela?
It said it was already contacted by someone on your team.
Yeah,
Deshauna, you getting the same
just
message?
as an FYI, I emailed you about it, Ron, as well.
Okay. So 1 second, let me get Miguel on here.
We're getting the same thing as well.
Yeah, that's a bug. Let me get someone from the dev team. They're gonna hop on now. Can someone hop on the call? All right. So someone from the dev team is going to hop on. I'll wait until they get on so that we can demonstrate the issue versus having to do it twice. Any other questions or comments about the flywheel or Speaker Hub? Now, here's one of the things that we're working on. One of the biggest things we introduced is notifications. So now in the top, you see a little bell that we just introduced last week with notifications that notifies you about what's going on and the call is today and all of these other different things. So these notifications will eventually notify you about your progress with the goals that you set. Eventually it'll notify you when one of your referrals signed up and you get your free pitches like you see here. I refer a lot of people. The other thing that you'll notice is whenever you get a reply. So we'll be adding replies very soon, but when those replies come in, they'll be on the dashboard and you'll also be getting notifications here. So be on the lookout for this notifications tab taking shape. I'm also excited to announce that later this week, probably on Wednesday or Thursday, frameworks will be introduced. So once you get booked for an event and you mark it as booked, we will give you suggestions about what you should talk about on that podcast or on that speaking gig. But we'll also give you your master framework for your topic. You're not forced to use it. It's just there as a point of reference to help you to be, more succinct and have new ideas that you can discuss. So Santiago is joining us right now. He just clicked on the link, so he should be joining the room anytime soon, and so that we can get this fixed. Thanks for guys for letting us know. That's why we do this call, so that you can give us live feedback and we can get these things taken care of immediately. Darshana, I really appreciate it, and Jasmine. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Kind of related. I'm curious. This was another. I emailed you the screenshot too, and I can pull it up if need be. The pitch count I noticed was like off for me. I'm curious. Do follow-ups count against your pitch count if they're generated inside of the platform?
No, follow-ups do not count. Do not count with the pitch count. Right?
Okay.
So what happens is, here, let me check your account here. See. All right, I got you here. All right, so here, you know what? I got something for you, Darshana. So what happens is each month, by default, the rollover credits are turned on. But 1 second here. And which level are you on, Darshana?
Gold, I think.
Okay, let me see.
I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time getting logged in right now, so I'm not actually in the platform. Right. It's like slowly coming on board.
Yeah, I don't know what the issue is, but let me see. Okay, yeah, you're on the. Let's see. Darshana. Avila.
I mean, basically, it's like the math just wasn't mathing. I did my first round of pitches and
Yep, I know what it is. So basically, what happened is that the rollover pitches wasn't turned on, but I'll get that turned on for you, and I'll add your credits back.
cool. Thank you.
So every month, um, there's a feature called rollover pitches that unused pitches get rolled over to the next month, right? And here, so right. So once you get logged in, I just added another 200 to your thing, just refreshed you for the month so that you're ready to go. So if Jasmine or Darshana want to go ahead and demonstrate to Santiago what the issue is that you're having.
I'll go because you're not able to log on, right?
Go for it, Jasmine. Thank you.
If you hit refresh, you should be able to refresh pretty easily. Darshana, is it a blank screen or is something spinning?
Yeah, I think it's just I've got too many things open on my computer, and between Zoom and that, everything's just a little delayed. So I'm sure Jasmine can show it. It sounds like we're having the same experience.
As well with the pitches run, I don't think any pitches were rolled over.
Okay, I'll check that out. We'll look at that.
Yeah, I know you will. I know you will. So I've got to find this little man with the microphone here. I'm getting so good with this, Angela. Let me put on my glasses because the green eyes don't see that well sometimes. Entering press run. Well, it didn't open. Okay, let's go back and continue with Google. I was gonna say, aren't you impressed that I got to share quickly?
Yeah, no, I mean you're making progress.
I was spoiled, Ron. I don't, what I do need and I will get is an assistant because I don't like any technicalities. I like to speak. I don't like to play with computers. So I'll probably just go into maybe the association ones were showing up. I don't know which ones were showing up. Let's do some podcasts. But I showed it to Angela.
So let me.
Here's one. Here's one. Here's one. Oh, here's a couple. Even though it's a follow-up, right? But it was the real pitch. It was the new pitches, not the follow-up. Let me come out of this.
But you don't have any team members, correct? No. Just stay there. Stay there for a second.
Okay.
Stay there for a second. You don't have any team members, correct?
No.
Okay. Can you scroll up?
Scroll up.
Yeah, just go up, scroll up a little bit. Okay, Santiago, do you see that? Where she has no team members, but yet she's still getting the notification ahead of time?
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah, and I'll just chime in and say that's exactly the same on my end.
Yeah,
I don't have team members either.
Yep.
If I go to filter, right? Should go to filter right now.
Well, yeah, you don't have to. That's all we needed to see. One second, Jasmine.
Okay. Okay.
So we just needed to see where the notification was. So since they have no team members, it's not possible that there's a team bug because they don't have any team members, and it just shows.
Yeah, maybe we have an issue with the release. Yeah, I will ask the dev team just to double check what's happening there. But yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's Jasmine Dennis and Darshana Avila. Those are two accounts you can verify, but I'm sure it's probably happening to others. It's happening to those two. It's happening to others. So I appreciate it. Thank you for joining, Santiago.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Yep, that's all we needed to see because it doesn't affect your ability to pitch. It's just a bad notification.
Okay. Oh, I've been pitching them.
Yeah, so that's a warning because we know that teams like Michelle and some of her teammates are pitching for Ann at the same time. And with multiple team members, sometimes they may be looking at the same podcast that we wanted to let them know, hey, somebody on your team has already reached out to them or have already added them to a list so that they don't send and embarrass themselves by sending multiple emails to the same podcast or conference on behalf of Ann McNeil, right? So it's just a warning. It doesn't prevent you from doing anything. It's just like a yellow light to say, hey, beware, but it doesn't affect what you're doing. So you can continue to pitch Jasmine and Deshauna. It won't have any effect. Just a bad warning for us.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. So, but we're making progress. That was a feature that was suggested by a lot of our team members that have assistants. And we're constantly going to develop the app to solve your problems. I noticed that Bart put in the chat that he's looking for an assistant. I don't know what other questions you had about that, Bart, or who could help you. I think, yep.
I just wondered if anyone was using one and just wanted to share their experience with it.
Yep. I know Ann McNeil is an assistant to do her pitching. She uses a team, I think 3 people that work with her to do pitching.
Yeah, I was sure they were part of her overall team. And
yeah, I think they're a part of her bigger company.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk privately, I can walk you through how you can probably find a pretty efficient assistant to do it for you.
Yeah. I have a call with
especially someone that speaks pretty decent English and that won't cost you an arm and a leg. We can probably help you with that.
All right.
Well, you can eventually I'll lean on you for that, Ron. Okay.
Yep. We'll make a reference for you.
So, a question, Ron, in reference to I know the issue about the popping up there about team members haven't responded and that's been fixed. Ironic, I don't have that on mine at all. But I know you're talking about, I think I might have said it just a few minutes ago before we got into that, about a notification letting you know that you have, like before you click on follow up or anything, that when the last correspondence was. Did you just say that, or I know you said something about that coming?
Yeah. So one of the things that we're working on, and it's called IMAP, which basically allows for replies to come inside your program, right? Inside of Speaker Pro, for lack of words, right? So it allows the replies to come in, and we'll be able to notify you, hey, this person has replied, right? That way we can better track our results. We want to know if you're getting positive replies. We want to know that you're getting those replies and to help you to reply. In our agency, I had a client maybe 6 months ago who we were pitching 500 conferences a month for her. And at the end of month 4, she was saying, this is the worst service ever. This doesn't work. And what we had was the ability to see what she was doing because she was connected to an external system where we could see the replies, right? She had 29 requests for meetings for conferences, and she replied to none of them, right? But she was consistently telling us that our system wasn't working, but we were able to show the transparency that there were 29 replies that she hadn't even searched through her inbox to find, right? So we want to be able to provide that same level of accountability back to everyone else. Not only will it make it easier for you, but it gives us better data to say, this is how many pitches it took you to get a reply, right? So if you knew that every 25 conference pitches got you a reply, you're more willing to pitch those 25. If you knew that every 7 podcast pitches got you a podcast booking, you're more willing to pitch those 7 times. If you knew that every 15 editors that you pitch for a magazine got you a writing credential, you would be more likely to do it. But there's no way for us to really have that transparency without IMAP, which allows you to bring those emails inside and be able to do that. So that's something that Miguel is working on, that we're pretty excited to be able to release sometime this quarter. Is that what you're referring to, Bart?
Yes.
Yep. So that's coming. But that's a really big deal for us because we want to celebrate with you. Like, wouldn't it be great if you got those responses and then a notification said, hey, you got a response 3 days ago and you haven't followed up with it yet?
That's like having an assistant right there.
Yeah, Carlos is building text message notification system also that you'll opt into. So as soon as you get a reply on your email, it will text message you and say, hey, you just got a response from this particular conference, right? So that's something that Carlos is building with the new notification system. But it's just step by step. I promise you, you have the right spot. If you see where we're going with what we're building and how we're going to make it so easy for you to be able to follow up with every opportunity and to be on top of your game in the speaking business. Speed is the currency of success, right? And those who apply to 3 days and all of that, we got to live it. Raquel replies to everybody right away. And I'm going to beat Raquel to the replies. But I see, I'll be like, I'm going to reply and Raquel second because I know she sleeps sometimes when I'm awake. So I go in and I issue the refund ahead of time so that when she sees it, because we have to believe that if we aren't living these principles ourselves, how can we ever, with any integrity, tell you all to do it? If we reply to y'all emails 5 days late, how can we ever tell y'all need to be replying back to, dude? So we want to live it for you guys. You know, Jasmine.
Raquel is never gonna let you wait 5 days.
No.
I tell you, when she'd be like, I'd be saying, does this girl sleep? Then I realized, oh, she must be in a different country. And you know, and then I'm going, oh my God. She wasn't with Speaker Hub, I'll steal her.
Oh, we about to kick Jasmine out. You talk about taking our employees, about to boot Jasmine to the waiting room.
Everybody on Speaker Hub's great. Everybody has their own way. You know why? For instance, you're great. Angela is great. Everyone is great. But she picks up in my lacking. Like I said, for years I worked with, you know, I had everybody does everything for me. I just go out and bring the business in, right? Mm-hmm. You know, so I'm do the real estate deal, and I was expecting somebody else to do the paperwork. And they're saying, no, sister, you have to do your own paperwork, kind of thing, right? So because, you know, especially in set my profile initially before I met Ron, and you guys, I'm going, oh, okay, all righty, this is something else. You know, and because she was the contact, you know, I was emailing, I'm thinking, is this girl going to think I'm just not have it up there or something like that? But she didn't look at that. She just looked and saying, you know what, this is what, if you want to be out there, this is what you got to have done. And in addition to what we're doing right now, what I'm saying, you're making us look very professional because I come from a large business background, but this platform that I'm on right now, I'm like a novice, but when someone gets an email and they see the Speaker Hub website and adjunct to my website, they're saying, oh, this is part of a large organization, because the two people that replied to me, first and foremost, they're a big deal. Mm-hmm. Would they have responded to me had I used a different vehicle? Probably not. They'd be asking more questions and more questions and more questions. You understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I totally understand.
Yeah, my background. So I totally appreciate this platform. I mean, I cancel everything unless I'm doing a podcast, I'll be here.
So I want to share something with you. This is from Karen, and she sent me this message yesterday. And I want to share it with everyone because I think it's important for us to understand the value of the opportunities that we have. And Karen Pruden, Dr. Karen is always on and pitching. And most of her work had been done through the outbound. And we always talk about how your inbound and outbound need to work together. Like, not only should you be pitching, but you need your profile, because the first thing someone's going to do is click on your profile to see if you are who you say you are. So she sent me this message yesterday, and she says, I got a confirmation for a virtual speaking event. Interesting situation. The host reviewed my speaker profile, and the one deciding factor amongst all of my qualifications was that she saw me with Lisa Nichols, who happened to be her coach. Now, she didn't have those multiple photos up showing her in different arenas and building her social proof and showing that other people trust her. This gig doesn't happen, right? So it's really important, guys, that you understand that there's sales, which is sending the emails. But then there's marketing, which is showing proof that you are who you say you are. Because when they go look at your page, they need to see who is this person? Is he really this person? Like John is here today. He went and looked this speaker up. He saw the link at the top and said, let me go see. I'm gonna click and join. They got a call. I'm gonna join this call to see if they really are who they say they are. And that's what this is about. That's why Darshana is here. Darshana had the regular speaker profile and she had some questions. And I said, let's have a call. Let's talk about it, right? That's inbound, if that makes sense. But if you don't have your stuff together, if your profile is kind of halfway done, it's really hard to build that credibility, guys. It's their first impression of you, right? So be sure that you're showing yourself in a professional manner, but also showing yourself with some social proof that other people trust you, right? Darshana, what's your question?
My question, multiple. It's kind of a twofold. With regard, so I want to just celebrate as somebody who is newer here. Like I've heard some of your OGs like singing the praises, and I think it's valuable for somebody who's new to say the same. I think I've done about 20 pitches so far, so we're not talking about an astronomical number. 5 responses. 2 of them were podcasts I appeared on already. I guess that's worth saying. One of them came back in shock. I'm going to curse. Sorry if that offends anyone. Shocked the shit out of me. I was their #1 download for 2024, and this is a very popular podcast, and I would never have known that if it wasn't for getting here in this cycle and like thinking, let me reach out to some that I've already guested on. Let's find some new ones. So I just want to say, like, the system's working. I got a really encouraging piece of information. Like, great. My question, that as I'm now like upping the pitching, is what is the duration between initial email and follow up that you recommend? Because like it pops up as one day later. Is that really the way to do it? It's a little aggressive personally, but I'm the expert in pitching.
So here's the thing. I got a 7-year-old, well, 8-year-old and a 3-year-old. And a lot of times I'm sitting there working at my computer and my daughter comes in. She don't care what I'm working on. And she says, Papi, yo necesito este. She drags me out of the room and I come back and I forget what I was working on, right? And then I'm doing something and my son comes in. He says, you want to play football? And I say, okay, let me go play with him for 15 minutes. I come back and I forgot what I was working on, right? The person who really needs what you offer is never offended that you're helping them.
Fair.
Right? You know, they're never offended. So by following up 3 days later, does that make them feel better? Oh, she waited 3 days to beg me. No, that's not what you're doing. You're reminding them, hey, maybe you read my email yesterday and got distracted like Ron does. Here, I'm just here to remind you, right? My thing is I want them to tell me no. I know that 80% of deals happens after the 5th contact with the person, right? So I want to get those 5 out of the way so I can archive them, right? Follow up 1 day later.
Okay, so it's like if I don't have an assistant doing this, like I'm doing it all. So you recommend, like, if I've pitched 20, work those 20 before I start pitching another 20 new ones, or like, because I can only spend so many hours on Speaker Hub a day.
Yep. So let me give you this. And again, this is something that I can share this deck with anybody. So we use a lot of different frameworks here at Speaker Hub. And one of the main ones that we use is, depending on your level of speaker, you should be pitching different types of associations or a different speaker flywheel. So if you're an emerging speaker just starting out, you should really be focused on podcast and association. If you're an experienced speaker, you should be doing podcast associations and conferences. And if you're like an expert speaker, you should be doing podcast associations, conferences, and media outlets all simultaneously. But in what ratio is the question? So we've developed these 15 minutes a day recipes, right? So if I'm a new speaker, it shouldn't take me more than 15 minutes a day to use Speaker Hub. I should come in, pitch my 2 podcasts, pitch my 3 associations, and move on with my life.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right? If I'm a experienced speaker and I have access to conferences, I should hop in, pitch my 2 podcasts, pitch my 3 associations, and pitch my 5 conferences and move on with my day.
Okay.
Now, why is that important? Because if I do this today, what do I have to do tomorrow? Tomorrow, I got to go in and follow up with the 2 before and send my 2 new ones. I got to follow up with my 3 from before and send my 3 new ones. I got to follow up with my 5 before and send my 5 new ones. So it ends up building momentum. Does that make sense? The
It
best
does.
person to talk about this without an assistant is probably Jadika. She taught a class on this about 2 weeks ago. I think it may have been a week ago. On one Monday, she showed how she started off pitching a bunch of people and got so backed up with new pitches that she had to stop for a month to go follow up. But if she would have just gone in, pitched her 10, followed up the next day with her new 10, she would have just been sending 20.
Okay.
Right? So what ends up happening if you follow up with the pitches that you're giving? I hear all the time, hey, I only got 200 pitches. I need to be doing more. No, you don't. 200 is enough for you to make 1,000 contacts a month if you follow up with everybody 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
Does
Related
that make
to
sense?
this, it absolutely makes sense and very like typical of me. Like I know the AI is like here to be our friend, and maybe I just have not found like my style within the AI like style offerings. But basically, like these pitches are taking me a lot more time than I'm imagining, like based on that. Like I'm reading the AI script, tweaking it. Look, like I feel like I'm doing more work
Yeah. So
than I probably should be
I'm
doing
going to
to
use
like
a
get
dating
into my
analogy.
voice. Say again.
I'm going to use a dating analogy with you, right? So I go to a bar and I see an attractive person and I look at their feet and I measure their shoe size with my eyes and I see what kind of car they drove in, and I look at their purse and I look at the food that she's ordering. Now I'm a creep at that point. If I'm observing all of this stuff, I'm a weirdo, right? Because it's a stranger. And there's a 90% chance that she's married or she don't want to be bothered with me, right? So I shouldn't invest so much in that first encounter.
Uh-huh.
I should be wondering, is she single? That should be the only thing that matters. If she's not single, why does all that other stuff matter? I can compliment her on to the days. Once she points to that wedding ring, I'm out. Even if she's in, I'm out because I don't want to deal with that type of problem, right? So if the podcaster isn't looking for guests, cool. I got 4 million other ones to pitch. If the speaking thing is closed, they close their window. I got one pitch. Hey, my reply is, hey, can I be a backup? If they say no, cool. I got 200,000 other speaking gigs to pitch. I would rather a person send 100 average pitches and outperform the person who's going to send 10 perfect ones. Because even if he sends 100 and he gets a 5% response rate, the person who sends 10 has to get a 50% response rate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to, again, we're here at Speaker Hub. For those who don't know, we do something called show your work, which is we don't just tell you to do stuff that we don't believe ourselves. So I'm going to show you a campaign that we got 4 minutes left, guys, before we go into overtime. But I'm going to show you a campaign that I did for myself, along with one that we did for a client and a bunch of other folks. So Liliana, who does our pitching, pitched me on podcast. Let me share my screen here. Can you see my screen, guys? Right? So Liliana here, all of these yellows were bookings. Right? So here's what she sent. 1 second here. That's something she's asking a question about. This was my pitch. I found this podcast. You got a great show. You looking for guests? Hey, you look nice. Are you single? That's all I asked.
Oh, can I just add something in? I'm using the passionate tone of the AI, and it is like 17 times the number of words that are coming up.
Well, it's the length also. Change it to short and professional.
It is.
Yeah, but you said be passionate, so it went Latino on you.
Okay, I hear. I got you.
Right?
Okay. I mean, as a perfectionist recovering who uses a lot of words, this is important information.
Look at this. You see this?
Yeah, I see you.
And that's what we said for every email.
That's great. Okay.
Fancy, same thing.
I'm overcomplicating. Thank you.
So wait, hold on. Again, we're gonna show our work here at Speaker Hub. So I'm gonna show you something else. I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna go to Mailshake, right? And here in Mailshake, because someone's gonna watch this and they're gonna say, "Well, that only worked for podcasts." Shut up. It doesn't. It works for everything. So let me go to Cheedy. Right? Cheedy is one of our done for you customers. And Cheedy said, if you say you can just send one word, then send one sentence, then just send one sentence. Cool, Cheedy. Challenge accepted. So I'm going to show you. One moment. Let me see if his campaign will come up. And once this comes up, I'll show you that so that it'll be proof for associations and universities. Wait, let me just go to the other side of this because it's taking too long. Right? So, John, one of the things that we promise all of our customers is that we will never teach something that we haven't done. So, unlike a lot of other systems where they teach you a bunch of theory, we only show things that we've actually lived. So, what I'm going to show you here is a campaign with Cheedy in a moment. Where is Cheedy? See. And yeah, so I'm going to show you a couple campaigns. One is John Lawson, we pitched the biggest stages in the world for him. And then this one with Cheedy, whenever it comes up, we should be able to find that also. Let's see. Let's see. Where is Cheedy? Just give me your stuff. All right. I can't find it. One second. I'll just go to John Lawson. And then we'll come back to Cheedy in a second. But yeah, guys, when you see what we sent with Cheedy, it was literally one line. Janika, while I'm waiting on this to come up, you want to go ahead and share what you wanted to share?
The only thing I wanted to share, Jashana, in terms of I'm in the business of relieving pain, and stress is a pain. Don't let this stress you out. And I say that what I do in terms of all of the podcasts that I have been invited to be a guest on, and for you, Ron, I got one association connection I'm meeting with next week. But all I do is I just basically skim over my AI. I don't change anything. Whatever they have put in there, that's based on how AI is using my bio. That's what I send. I just send it. And because of that, that's how people are responding. I think what they look at most is like what Ron talks about, how you are presenting yourself, because then they're going to go to your email, they're going to go to your Speaker Hub site and all that if they're interested, and then they get back. It's not so much the message in the email as it is connecting with you. So I wouldn't stress myself about if AI is not presenting me politically correct or generically correct in terms of my message. Just let AI connect with you according to your bio and just send that and go for it. Then you just move on to the next. That's not the part that needs to be like, making it really complicated for yourself. And then that gives you back your time to be able to do all the other things that you normally do in conjunction with Speaker Hub.
No, you can't beat it. Can't say it better than that, right? So let me share the screen, right? So again, this is part of showing our work. John was one of my first customers back in 2020, January 17, 2020. Speaker Hub was 1 month old, and we were doing done for you services. John said, "Can you book me at the big conferences?" And I said, "John, let's try it." So we sent 69 pitches. Out of those 69, 34 of them were open, 20 of them replied. Okay, let me show you the 20 that replied so that we can. Marketing Boss, one of the largest marketing websites in the world. Link Startup, one of the largest startup websites in the world. You may have heard of this company, TED, not Text, the real TED. Forbes, Inc., TechCrunch, largest startup blog in the world. Moz, one of the largest software conferences in the world. These are the 20 out of the 34 who read the email that responded. Would you like to see the magical super duper 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 email that he sent? Now, let me tell you the origin story of this email. I said, "John, I don't really know what to say." What did we say? He said, "What would you say to your grandma? If you was going to email your grandma about coming over for Sunday dinner, what would you say?" And I'm like, I said, "I would just say, Grandma, are you cooking?" He was like, "Say that. Don't put no logos in it. Don't do any of that. We need to send it like a text message." So we start calling it the grandma email, right? Here's the email that we sent to get responses from those people. Now, we at Speaker Hub know that most speakers are very intelligent, but they're also a little bit insecure. So they say, "No, mine got to be special. I got pride of authorship," which is okay. So you know what every conference speech starts off with? We by default put this as the first line because we know that's all you need to send. And we let you add all that other stuff underneath. But the default pitch for a conference is always this. So if I go into a conference pitch over here and I said, "Okay, I'm going to pitch this conference," look at the first line. The first line will always match that because we know that that's all that really matters. So right at the beginning, we're going to ask if they're single. Right? Hope this message finds you well. I'm reaching out to see if you're currently looking for speakers for this or any other event. We're getting to that point anyway, because we know the chances of you changing that first line is low. You're going to change the bottom stuff. But as long as we got our point across, we still get our message along with whatever else you want to modify underneath. But you could just send that. Why? Are you single? That's all we're asking. Are you single? That's all that we were asking in this message with John. And that's all of them replied back with what the next step should be. Whether it's a meeting or an application or whatever. Is this fair, Deshauna? Right? Now, that one is long. I wish I could have showed you Cheaty's because Cheaty literally sent only that line with his name, no photo or nothing. Here it is right here. That's this. Cheaty's pitch. We sent 54% response rate. 1 out of every 6 people replied to him. Do you see that? Out of 569 people, 90 people replied. 33 clicked over to see him, see who he was. Here's that very special email. But everybody else wants to write all this other crap. We try to tell you not to do it, but people don't feel good doing it because we think we special. It's 9 billion of us on the planet. We all poop and eat.
What's the AI style that you recommend then? Because I mean, It's
Short professional, the
short
default
professional.
one.
Right. Got it. I've got to jump. I
It's by
appreciate
default
this.
set up to be the one that we want you to use, but we give you the flexibility because it was one of the most requested things.
I hear you.
So
All right.
we,
Thank you, Ron.
Yep. Is this? You
It's
see,
super
we
helpful.
showed you the
Appreciate
proof.
you.
Yeah.
I'll see you soon.
All right. Bart.
No, I was just going to add, we showed that like the first day I came on, first day I got into this, which made it simple because we all kind of struggle like, okay, what do you say? And I'm a bottom line up front person. So when you showed that, I'm like, okay, that's my partner, bottom line up front. I like how the AI does it, makes you think a little bit more and be a little bit more eloquent. But I think mine was probably set to professional from the very beginning. So what I did was I took the kind of the best of the AI and just made a template. So that's sent every time. What is the bottom line up front? Your event's coming up. Are you looking for speakers? Then who I am, the problem I solve. Then that's it. Okay, can we collaborate? Blah blah blah. And that's my template. I don't even use AI because I looked at them all and I created one that works. I have one for conferences, one for associations because language might be a little different in terms of what I'm saying, but it's standard thing. And then you go through the process of following up and all type of stuff. They're either in or they're out, and then next. Okay, on to the next one. So it's simple, and that's worked for me. I got all the responses that I've told you about and more by that simple thing, and I don't deviate from that. And the follow-up's the same way. I don't use it. It's probably easier to use the AI. Sometimes it writes more than I want to say. I did the same thing. Looked at the AI, come up with one simple thing for conferences, podcasts, blah, blah, and just do it all the same way. And I'm living by that because I got, I've gotten booked on all three of the platforms. Only media because I need to put more work in the media.
Yeah, no, I mean, there it is. So that's one of the things that we want. Anyone who's watching this, we want to let you know that our default are our best practices. The defaults that are already there are the best practices that we found. Now, why do I get to decide what's the default? Well, over the last 5 years, I've interviewed 4,500 speakers personally, one-on-one, right? I've booked more than 10,000 meetings with meeting planners over the last 5 years. I've worked with over 1,000 speakers in our agency doing done for you. Angela had a done for you podcast booking agency. I've been booking meetings with meeting planners since 2018. So we had the proof. Last year I sent over 500,000 emails to event planners and speakers, right? AJ can testify to this. AJ has seen me build this thing from ground zero. AJ has been a customer of ours since April of 2020. He just happens to live in Medellin, so he gets to watch me do it. And he's like, dude, why you? At first, I would say I was sending 100 pitches for anybody for free. And AJ didn't understand why I was doing it. I was doing it because I knew I could get results for them with 100 pitches, but I needed to be able to show my work. So I needed those 400 campaigns that you saw there to be able to show people, oh, you do this? Oh, let me pull up cheating. Let me pull up this person. Let me pull up this person who's just like you so that I can show my work. This is how you build trust and a reputation or being able to do what you say you can do. So, yeah, I mean, we've simplified this thing. We've given you the best practices by default. It doesn't benefit us at all to save our best stuff for somebody else. Gotta give you that first, So there's an old Bible story I'll tell you. What they would do is at the weddings, when Jesus turned the water into wine, the moral of that story is that at the weddings, they would bring out the good wine first, and then they would save the cheap booze for later on. And when Jesus did that miracle, they was impressed that he made better wine than what they started off with, right? So all I'm saying is we're going to give you our best stuff first. And if that don't work, then go to the other stuff. But the best stuff should work. Does that make sense? So Bart, what were you going to say?
I was just going to add, trying to see if you're going to get to it, that because we're speakers, so we feel like we want to talk, so we try to do it through text. But the part that you always bring up. And the truth part is that's to get them to talk. So now you get a call. So you're not trying to book it through email, you're trying to get their attention through email. Then they will follow up. And then you can be eloquent and nice and maybe not as short as your email first started out once you get them on the phone. Because that's good. That's how you're going to get booked. Probably not going to get booked through the email. That's just to get their attention. But you always say, I did the goal is to get them on the phone. And
100%.
Danica, I sent Danica a message trying to get her system. I think you shared it that day, or she shared.
Yeah, you had a,
trying to do
Janika, you had
one-on-one.
a spreadsheet or a Google
Okay.
Doc you had made. But yeah, I mean, the goal of asking if she's single is to get the first date, right? And a lot of times people are trying to book the speaking gig via email, which is equivalent to proposing at your introduction. You don't, hey, you look nice, will you marry me? No, you're a weirdo, right? It's, hey, you look nice, can we go on a date? Can we have 15 minutes to see, grab a cup of coffee to see if we're even compatible? Can we hop on a 5-minute call to see if we're even compatible as a speaker for this conference or maybe some other event that you may have? I use dating as an analogy, guys, because everybody has been through that. And we understand what weirdos feel like. We're not in a B2B world or a B2C world. We're in a P2P, person to person. We're dealing with people. And if we remember that, we win. The minute that we feel like we're pitching a conference, it's bad. If we feel like we're pitching a podcast, it's bad. We got to feel like we're pitching another person on the other end and respecting their time and their energy. Does that make sense? So Bart, Jasmine, Bart, did you have your hand up again, or we just never put it down first time?
Yeah, I think it's down now.
Okay, perfect. Jasmine?
Oh, no, I was just using the data analysis too. Because I've always been so busy and high stress and running around, if I'm dating, I'm, want to date somebody because I was married, not married anymore, I don't wait to ask the hard questions 6 months down the road. If I see something happening now, you kind of do the touch point, and the faster you do the touch point, you realize, are you compatible or you're not compatible? And it's not a matter of how much money you have or your credit score. No, not anything like that. Are you okay with me sometimes gone to South Africa for my job for like a month and a half? Are you okay with that? I'm not going to be able to contact you. I'm working on a heavyweight champion fight. I don't talk to anybody outside. I don't go social media. Are you okay with that? And if they're, sometimes they say yes, and sometimes, you come back to somebody pouting, right? But the same way with, following up with bring it back to work here, I find that, I agree with you, because at first when it said follow up today, I thought, oh, but then if you follow up, you're going to find out very quickly, do they really want you? Do they need you? Are they with you? I had somebody who touched base in December. I followed up a couple of times, didn't hear anything. And then I got an email this morning and it said, I so apologize. You resonate with what we're doing. We'd love to have you. So, you just keep following up until there's no follow-up to be had. And that's my little 2 cents for Monday.
No, that makes sense. I totally get it. I totally get it. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? I got to hop off because I had my 1:15 just hopped into the room. But any other questions, comments? Was this helpful, John, to kind of give you a better perspective of what we do?
Yeah, it was absolutely helpful. Thank you, Ron, and thanks to everybody else too. I'll see you again soon.
Yep, we're here every day. See you at
Well,
noon
I
tomorrow,
sent you
guys.
a speaking gig on LinkedIn.
What happened?
I was telling Bart I sent him a speaking gig on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was traveling.
All right. Cool.
Cool. All right, guys. Talk to you later.
Go Bucks.